Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to put out a video that walks through the repairs I had to do on this fountain back here. It's been down for about a month. So this fountain, the history of it, it's about 6 years old. Landscapers installed it when I had my patio built here. So now I'll walk you through what I did to get the pump working again and the improvements I made to the fountain. I hope you enjoy the video. Before I could get started, I had a few preparations that I had to make. One was to remove the river stones from around the rock. The other was to drain the fountain. The area surrounding the river stones used to be grass. The grass grew into the stones, resulting in a muddy mess. So I removed the stones to clean them up. Earlier this spring, I made a chip slate path surrounding the fountain area. I installed the pavers as a border, so the stones should stay a lot cleaner now. Next, I drained the basin of the fountain. I used the pump from another fountain to get this done. I put the pump in the basin and connected a length of hose to it. I ran the hose into a length of PVC so the water could travel across my chip slate path and drain into the drainage river I made earlier this season. The next step was to raise the rock. I needed to raise the rock so I could access the pump and see what I was doing underneath the rock in the basin. I used my wrecking bar as a lever and a farm jack to raise the lever. By itself, the farm jack isn't stable, so I had to use two 2x4s and a piece of rebar to make a tripod base for the jack. This worked to raise the rock about a foot. After that, the angle of the lever pushed the jack over. I needed to try something else. On the next attempt to raise the rock, I used the scissor jack from my truck. This looked much more promising until I realized the same problem with the increased angle of the lever as I raised up the jack. On my next attempt, I angled the jack more towards the rock before I started lifting the jack. This worked. I managed to get the rock lifted about 20 inches. This gave me enough clearance to access the pump and to see what I was doing underneath the rock in the basin. I used a stack of bricks to hold the rock elevated. I set the bricks up and lowered the jack and tested for stability. I was good to go. But I finally got the pump removed. After I removed it, I plugged it in to test it and realized that it was still working. The problem was that it was clogged with mud and soot. The clog was at the intake of the pump. The intake was only about 1.5 inches in diameter. When the landscapers installed it, they used a hose clamp and a small piece of screen over the intake to use as a filter. The screen deteriorated and the built-up muck filled the intake and caused the clog. I did some research on how to prevent fountain pumps from clogging. I didn't want to deal with this again in the near future. What I learned was the larger the water intake surface area, the better. So I used an old spray bottle. I drilled at least 100 holes in it with the smallest drill bit I had. With this setup, the tiny particles of soot can pass through the holes, but that's not a problem because they can also pass through the pump. But the bigger debris, like say leaves, might cover a section of the spray bottle, but there will still be plenty of surface area to draw water to feed the intake. I tested the setup and it worked well. There was plenty of water pressure generating from the pump. That means that the spray bottle filter is allowing plenty of water flow into the intake and not restricting the water flow. I got the pump and filter installed in the basin under the rock. I plugged it in and the water pressure looked fantastic and everything looks great so far. Next, I used the jack and lever to lift the rock off the supporting bricks. Then I removed the bricks and lowered the rock back in place. Then I again tested the pump to make sure everything stayed in place when I lowered the rock. I bought a 360-degree sprinkler head to use as the fountain head. I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not. I was worried that the sprinkler head would cast the water outside the fountain area. And also I wasn't sure how it would look. But it was only $4, so it was well worth a try. With a slight adjustment to the water pressure valve, I got the water radius just right to cover the rock but not spray outside the fountain area. Now we're in the home stretch. All that's left is to replace the river stone around the rock. The stone was staged only about 15 feet from the fountain. I thought carrying it one shovel load at a time would work. After just a few shovel loads, I realized I needed the wheelbarrow, and this would be much faster. After I moved the stone back into the fountain area, I found the easiest way to distribute the stone evenly around the rock was to get on my hands and knees and spread it by hand. And that did it. Everything is back in place. The fountain is working great and looking better than ever. After a quick cleanup with the hose, the project is complete. I'd like to thank you for watching this video up to this point, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a like and maybe drop a comment. If you want to see more videos on the progress of my backyard garden, please subscribe.